Alright guys, so we got the car here on the other 2-post lift. So we can drop the rear, take the tires down, put some tubes in them, and see how that goes. So we got it set up here on the lift right now. We got a post jack under the center. I'm going to undo the shocks. Get a look at this. QA1 double adjustable shocks. This is a low dollar Motorsports shock sensor, and the drive shaft sensor there. Mark Williams center section. The Mark Williams axles in the car. So as you can see, like I was talking about, ladder bars are all the way down to the bottom. It's still at 126% anti-squat, and thinking it's a little much for the slicks. Radials will probably work, but I really don't want to run radials. So we're going to drop this down, then take the shocks down, drop the rear down, and we'll go from there. Alright. The rear is hanging. Got to drop it down about 6 to 8 inches to clear the rims and tires. Got the wheels and tires off. We're going to take the valve core out. Take the air out of them. We're going to break the bead down, and hopefully not have to break the whole tire down, because I think we might have to open up the hole for the valve on the slick tube. So we'll see once I break the tire down. So we're going to remove the bead lock. So just back up a little bit, we'll give you a little info on these. I don't know if you guys know what bead locks are. Some of you do, some of you don't. A lot of guys run them. Weld wheels, basically this is a 3-piece rim. 4 if you want to count the center, but basically, typically it's a 3-piece rim, a double bead lock. You have the rim, the lip of the rim where the bead of the tire would normally seat, like on a regular tire. The tire sits on the inside of the rim and seats against the inside of the bead. When you put air in it, it actually puts pressure on it and seals it. So back in the day, we used to drill them and put screws in them to keep the rim from moving on the tire, or the tire moving on the rim, however you want to look at it. But they would slip. So if a lot of you guys would look at this now, you have, okay, so you have a single bead lock, you have a double bead lock. Weld also makes a process that I've had done on another set of rims. Nice rims. You don't want to put screws and holes in a $500 rim. They make a knurling process. So they actually knurl the inside lip of a regular bead so that you could put them on there and not have to use screws. And the next step would be this step right here, which is the bead lock. So the bead lock is basically a ring. The tire sits on the outside of the bead of the rim, and then this bead sandwiches the tire between the two. It's all bolted down, and basically it can't move. You'll probably either rip the rim or rip the tire off, but it ain't gonna separate. Alright, so we're gonna take these off. I'll show you what they look like when they're off, and waiting on Josh to come back with some baby powder so we can put them on the tubes and put the tubes up. The rims broke down. I'll leave the rim in there. The valve stems are 5/8. That's what the rings look like. And they have a bead and a knurl. And that ring also has a knurl on the inside, and that's how they bolt on. And you can see the knurl actually digs right into the slick, into that bead. Keeps it nice and tight. Keep it from moving. Alright, so we're going to put some baby powder and stuff in here. Get the tube set in place, and we're going to put one back together, and then we'll show you a little bit more detail when Josh will hold the camera.
Okay.
So we're going to mark the bead where the valve is, just so they go back on the same spot, okay? Now the bead lock all comes off. Right? Set that aside right there. And then that just lays in there. That's it. So you see that. Now we're going to take the other side. So now you got the rim separated. I'm going to flip it around. We're going to take the valve stem out. And these valve stems are stepped, so they are the bigger ones, so we don't have to drill a hole or anything out, which is nice because it's be a shame to drill out $1,000 rim with the bead locks on it. So that's nice and clean, no sharp edges on nothing. We're gonna
show the two.
Basically, we're gonna get the rim entire off.
What do you want, the bars?
Out of the way. Make sure there's nothing in here. Make sure there's no sharp edges. All right. And then I'm going to take some body powder. Baby powder, body powder, whatever you want. Sprinkle it all in there. Make sure it gets on everything. It smells like a hospital in here now. All right.
Oh wow.
Stir it up nice and tight.
Now this is so the tube doesn't
This
stick
is
to
so
the tire
tube doesn't stick.
once it gets hot.
No, not even hot. Just you want it to slide around so it doesn't pinch nothing and.
And that stuff stinks.
So that's that. We're gonna take one at a tube. Away. Put air in the tube, enough to make it round. The other thing is you want a tube that's the right size. So this is basically the smallest tube they make, and it's good for a 28-inch tire. It's good for a 28 by 10 and a half, up to 10 and a half. Then they make another size that's bigger than this. But if you go too big, then what happens is the tube ends up going like that inside the tire, and it ends up bunching up the rim and the tire itself. And you don't want to do that. You take a little bit of air out of it. Now we know which way it faces. All right. Now you know that the rim, this is facing up, so we want it this way. And we're just gonna put it in here. That's basically why these rims, these tubes look white, because they have some kind of powder on them. So now it's going to face down because it's going to face the outside of the rim. We're going to put this tube in here. Right. Now that the tube is down in there, this over.
Try to fish that through there now.
We're going to find the bead. It's right here.
Valve stem.
Now this can turn. And center it. Like that. It's all centered in there. Looks like it wants to go like that. Put this lock on here.